cultivating mature positivity.
cmpradio.net.
What's up, family? It's Uncle P, man, and we are live from the Cultivate Mature Positivity Studios, man. I have the pleasure of sitting down with the new superintendent of the new Chester Upland School District, Dr. Carol D. Birks. As always, man, shout out to our sponsors, right? Your opinion doesn't matter. YODM, man. Get a t-shirt right now. I know you see everybody in the city rocking these shirts and saying your opinion doesn't matter because it's true. Your opinion about me really doesn't matter. Your opinion about you matters. So keep that to yourself. Keep your opinion to yourself. But here we are, man. Pearson Coucher Law, workers' comp, that's all they do. Injured at work, injured at home while working, post-COVID, pre-COVID, whatever. Get with them. Make sure you give them a call, man, so they can answer all your questions that you have or might have about workers' compensation law, right? They can help you out with that. And introducing Dr. Carol D. Birks. I wish I had some type of some noise or some music, right? But I'm not in the actual studio. This is our side studio. Pause. But I have this. Steve, how are you today? How are you doing today?
I am fantastic, Uncle P, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be a guest on your show. So I'm really excited to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you today and to get to know you as well as for you to get to know me.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me.
And that's what communication is about, getting to know each other, having to sit down and the moral ineptitude to sit down and say, I don't really know you, but I'm going to get to know you. And we're going to answer some questions and we're going to have a little bit of back and forth. And like I said, I put it out there for all of the viewers that will be tuned in to raise their questions to you. And we'll ask a couple questions that I already have written down. But initially, our conversation was based around the parent guardian school opening survey. I want to get to that because I think that's the most pressing issue because that survey has to be done by July 13th, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's correct. Thank you.
So this survey has to be done. It has to be filled out, and it could be found where?
It can be found on Facebook, on our district Facebook page, as well as our district website. So we're encouraging all families of Chester Upland School District to take our survey. Your input on our school reopening plan is vitally important. We want to hear from you. The Pennsylvania Department of Education has outlined 4 different learning opportunities for the next academic year. And is it okay for me to go into them, Uncle P?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sure. So one is to totally reopen school for all students and staff. Also, the second one is scaffolding reopening. Some students are engaged in in-person learning, while others are distance learning. Some grade levels in person, other grade levels remote learning. The third is blended learning, where there's a balance, some in-person learning and some remote learning for all students. And then the fourth option is total remote learning for all students. That means just everyone learns from home or wherever you choose to study and learn, but not in the school buildings. So those are the 4 options that were presented to school districts throughout Pennsylvania. And we want to enlist our parents, our families, as well as our faculty and staff, your input as to what will be the best learning options for our students as we all face this unprecedented times in our nation's history and as it relates to the coronavirus. So we are encouraging all families to take the survey, families of students who attend Chester Upland School District. And so we really want to hear from you. You are true partners in this work and educating all of our students here in Chester Upland School District. And we want you to be a vital part in the decision making. So thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Now, Miss Carla Beaver said, now everybody doesn't have computers and everybody's not on social media. Is there a paper form that parents can fill out? Can they come to the building and get this done?
So we can make those options available to people. And so I will have, if parents are interested in taking the survey and they don't have access to computers, they should call our district offices and we will respond to them. So,
Okay.
but I do know a lot of people are on Facebook or somebody's cousin or something, just give us send us a note or something saying they need access. But if you could send that you need access to our district through our district website, or through our Facebook page, say, I'm having difficulty having access, or my cousin or my friend or someone is, and then we will respond to you. But if you got to send us a note online, because our offices are not open to the public right now. So we have limited staff. I mean, we're monitoring the phones, but to get a quicker response, if you do it electronically, we will respond to you.
So you heard it here first, right? Parent guardian school opening survey is extremely imperative that we fill this out, that we get the necessary response in so we know exactly how our kids will be going back to school during this COVID crisis, right? We're in phase 1, we're going into phase 2, we're not quite out of phase 1 yet. So all of this is very new to us, right? And we need to have or exercise a little bit of patience throughout all of this, but we need to do our due diligence and fill out these forms, these surveys, so we know how our kids are going back to school, right? We have a say in how they're going back to school, and if we don't say anything, then we also can't complain when it comes down to the kids going back to school a certain type of way. So yes, you can do it on the phone. We got a lot of people going back and forth, so you can do it on your phone. If you have a smartphone, you can do it on your computer. If you're on social media, you can do it on social media. And if you don't have all that, you can go on the website and you can say, I don't have all of these things. I need a paper copy so I can fill it out. And I'm sure they will accommodate you and get you the form the best way possible.
Yes, thank you. I also want to say, Uncle P,
right,
we want to make sure in our decision making that we keep students safe.
Absolutely.
Faculty safe, all our staff safe. So in our decision making, we will make sure that we are following the CDC guidelines as well as medical experts, because my first priority as superintendent is to ensure that we have a safe environment for everyone who's part of our learning community. So I want to say that.
So does this opening survey also take into the account what will the cleaning procedures that the schools will take?
So we are going to follow CDC guidelines as it relates to the cleaning our facilities. So all the necessary protocols that are in place to do that, we are following. And we will keep people informed of our progress. Well, before school, we'll have community forums. I know I'm probably getting ahead. You probably have some questions, so I'll stop and then I'll let you ask me questions.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, because you're in that field. That's your field. So you understand exactly what you have to do to make sure you're following all the protocols. So go ahead, hit the checklist.
So we
CDC.
Yes. So we're going to follow all CDC guidelines, all guidelines that have been identified by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, as well as medical experts from the IUs and the educational units within our area. And so we're looking to guidance from all these entities to ensure that we have a safe opening. Sorry, my district phone is ringing. Sorry about that.
So we're still talking about the school opening. So one thing that's dear to my heart and near and dear to my heart over the last couple of years has been the football program, right? Because the football program is put together by some good fellas from the community and outside of the community. Coach Dante Bell, man, I see him as a leader of the community, right? And his staff cares deeply about these children. So we've noticed in other school districts, Sun Valley and the surrounding areas, they're allowed to go back to football practice. What is the protocol for that? Will we be allowing the football team to get back to practice soon, or?
So in all decision making, we're going to make sure that we follow all the guidelines that have been identified. Each district is being asked to present a health and safety plan, as well as part of that plan, athletic plan. And so our athletic team, our coach Moritz, our coaches, they are working on the plan now. And that plan has to be presented to the receiver as well as the Board of Education for approval. And it also has to be submitted to the state, the Pennsylvania Department of Education as well, before we can allow any sports to resume. So there's a multi-level process. Like I said, our team, they are working on finalizing the plan. And we have a district, we call it a district task force, a pandemic school reopening task force. And that task force will also look at the plan, vet the plan, give feedback so that we ensure that all the social distancing guidelines, all the safety procedures are within that plan to make sure that all our kids, all our staff are safe before we put people back on the field or involved in any sports or in our school buildings.
That's a lot of red tape. That seems like we
have to be safe. Safety,
yeah, I mean, I get it.
So we have to make sure we cover every aspect. And I just want to let the families in this community know you have my commitment as superintendent to ensure that we are following, as you said, all the red tape that's necessary to make sure that we keep people safe.
All right. Is that all that we have to say about because I want to get into welcoming you to the city and having the conversation about the new superintendent. So that's it for the school opening survey? That's it?
Please know if I could just encourage families to participate. And also, and I guess we'll get into later into this discussion about how we engage people in the process of ensuring that we have our district become one of the highest performing districts, that we work so that we provide high quality learning experiences for all of our students. So we'll talk about that a little later when you ask me a few more questions.
and you know, I'm on you. And listen, everybody that's watching this live right now, I want you to put your questions into the comment box. We'll get to them. We only got a half an hour though, so we're not speeding through everything. We're just trying to keep everybody on their schedule. Everybody has something to do. So I'd like to thank Dr. Carol Birks for taking the time out to come on to cmpradio.net to talk to the community, right? She's here, she's accessible, and we're going to ask the questions, right? So I have a few questions from the community. The first question is, how will you implement your community-based meetings into our community?
So as part of my detailed entry plan as superintendent, I've developed a plan. As part of that plan is to engage the community in listening tours. So I will have community forums as well as town hall meetings for faculty and staff. And so, and those will be forthcoming within the next 2 weeks or so. We'll begin to send out information. And as part of the listening tours, I'm going to ask a few questions. I want to hear from you. What do you think are the strengths of our school district? What do you think are the areas of growth? And everyone has an opinion. What do you think? What would you do first if you were the superintendent here in this district? As well as what gifts and talents do you bring that you would like to help move our district forward? This is our district and these are our students. And so we need this collective community to support and ensure that our students and equip them with the skills and knowledge and also experiences that they need to be successful.
Absolutely. I agree with that, right? I feel like community sounding boards are important. I feel like engaging the community is extremely important. So I ask that you allow CMP to come to these listening sessions and record them. That way, for the people that can't make it out, you know, there are meetings that we can't always make, but everybody has a phone in their hand now, and it's so accessible. So if you would grant me that privilege and that pleasure to be there to record these, I would greatly appreciate it.
Uncle P, I'd be delighted to have you. I think it will be a wonderful thing for to engage the community so they can get to know me, I can get to know them. And like you said, not everyone's always available at the same time. And so that we can get our messages out to the extended community, because as I said to this, it's going to take the collective strengths of all of us to make sure that every single student that is attending schools here in Chester Upland School District is successful. Not just one person, but all of us. And I know this community, I'm going to have to win over their trust and build real deep relationships, because relationships matter. And there's a researcher named Dr. James Comer. He says all about relationships, relationships, and relationships, and that no significant learning can take place unless there's a relationship. So I need you, community, families, to partner with me as the leader of this great district, so I'm excited about it, so that we can make our district the best district that it can possibly be and create the conditions for all of our learners to be successful.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
need your partnership.
I agree with your partnership, relationship, all the ships are
Yes.
Clipper ships. So let's get it together, man. It's Sea Pride all day.
Sea Pride, yes.
How do you feel about the charter school, the back and forth that we're dealing with right now in the school district with the charter schools? And it's a two-part question. And your last job seemed like it had a shaky ending. You care to elaborate on that?
So I'll answer question one, if that's okay first.
Go ahead.
I believe that families should have choice and opportunity. I have no preference to charter schools, but I believe that families need to have the opportunity to choose what's the best learning experiences for their children. So that's my position on choice in charter. I cannot expound on anything that occurred in my previous role. We separated and there was a separation agreement, but I'm not looking back. I'm pressing forward. I am here for the benefit of all the children in Chester and Chester Upland, as well as to work with the adults who have been entrusted in their care. My job is to create learning conditions, and my vision, I'll talk a little bit about my vision, if that's okay, Uncle P.
Absolutely. We're going to get to that.
Yes. Can I talk about now or you want me to wait?
Well, you can wait.
Okay. So I can't get into any discussions about my previous role.
Okay.
Okay.
So and that's the biggest thing for us, right?
I will say that we were successful. We had to make some great strides for the students in New Haven and all my previous roles, but I can't get into some of the details because that's in the past.
Right.
I'm here today to work with everyone in this community, and I hope you give me an opportunity to get to know you. You get to know me so that we can move forward in the present, because that's why I'm here.
I'm that one that understands you can't move on to the next relationship until you heal from the last one. You can't really talk about the last relationship and the next relationship. And I think we have a great opportunity, right? Not only to work with you, but to hold you accountable, right? And to ask the questions. You're coming to the boards. I get it. You can't talk about it. You legally obligated. You sign that you can't discuss it. It can't come on. So I think we leave those questions there. And everybody understands that we're watching you, Dr. Birks, right? And we want you to move for our children correctly. We need someone in this superintendent position that is moving for the behest of our children and for the greater good of our children as well. So I think that's our only issue, right? In the community is why are you here and why were you the best person for the job? So
I am Chester. That's why I'm here. You want me to explain that, Uncle P?
Go ahead, let's go.
Okay. So like many of the students in Chester, I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now people hear Connecticut, they're like, oh, Connecticut's wealthy. I grew up in a community in which was impoverished, for single mother. My parents were separated when we were younger. I'm the youngest of my mother's 4 children. My father was married twice, so I have 5 siblings. So he had 2 other children, and we're all one family. And so my mother was a domestic worker. She cleaned Jewish people's houses. And one thing, we were very Christian, but sometimes I thought we were Jewish sometimes because we engaged in lots of those practices as well. It's like, it's Passover. I'm like, Mom, we're Christian. So, but with that said, it was a joke. But with that said, I have committed my life, for someone like me to be able to sit here as the superintendent for this district after I faced many of the similar obstacles that many of the students that I've been, hired to serve and lead have faced. And I have many degrees, including a master's and a doctoral degree from Columbia University. Now, research, I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you, research would say that would never happen.
Right.
That would be absolutely impossible. But let me tell you, my mother, with her very limited formal education, my mother went to 10th grade. I'm going to have real talk with you, Uncle P, okay? My mother went to 10th grade in the rural South of Sumter, South Carolina. So if you look at the 10th grade education then back in the late 30s, early 40s, is not the same 10th grade education our kids are receiving today. And so, but what she did have, she had a great deal of wisdom. She made us go to school every day. I went to high school, and this is for the students listening. I went to high school every single day, did not miss a day. People are like, what's wrong with you? My mother said, you better get to school, because the only way that you will be successful is if you are educated. And that's the only, no one can take that away from you. I went to science camp. I went to church all the time. All those things I thought were absolutely horrible. But you know what? Those very things led to my success. And I have committed more than 20 plus years of my career and my life in education at all levels to ensure that each student has access and equity and have the learning experiences that should be afforded to them. So when I say I'm Chester, and my why for being here is very deep and personal. Very deep and personal, because one, many of the students at Chester, they look like me. Many of the students in Chester face some of the experiences that I have. Everything that I have, and I attribute to, of course, I have strong faith. My strong faith in God, my mother's belief in me. I had a caring community, my church community, the civic community. There was all these wraparound services to make sure someone like me, who people would have written off, was successful. So I am relentless about making sure that all students have what they need. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I was the best candidate. I've worked at all levels of education. I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, chief of staff. And I worked for, I taught at the graduate level. So I've had all kinds of experience. And I worked for the Connecticut Department of Higher Education previously, earlier on in my career. So I've had extensive experiences that I bring to this district, and I have a track record of success throughout my career. And that is why I'm here. And I'm hoping that this community will embrace me. I don't know everything. That's why I need you. I need your support. I need you to believe in me. I want to win over your trust, that I will love your children as if they are my own children. But I need your support, and I need you to believe in me. And I'm hoping that you afford me with that opportunity, because as I said, I am Chester. I know the struggles that people go through to be successful. I know the sacrifice that needs to be made to be successful. And you know what? If someone like me can become educated and do this, it can happen for all kids. And I'm going to equip my staff, teachers, administrators, and other with the tools that they need to offer that to our students. So that is why I'm here, and I'm serious about this.
Okay. All right. It sounds good. And like I said,
hold me accountable. Hold me accountable.
And that's what it's about. I
want you to.
Absolutely.
Deserve it.
From this point on, I want you to be able to come back to cmpradio.net, have a sit down and talk to me about the action steps. How are you making action and affecting these kids in a positive way and changing the narrative when it comes to Chester Upland School District, right? I mean, you have the job now, right? Or we can sit here and fuss, fight, and come to your front door with picks and candlelight and axes and ask for your resignation. Right, but this is we weren't in on the hiring, and like I said, when we're reading the articles from your last job, we're not getting good reviews, right? We're not getting that she's great and she's good at this and she does this, and all we're getting are the bad stuff. And it's like, why do we keep getting the bad stuff sent to us, right? We already get trash shipped in and burnt. We don't want, and this is not at you pointed, we don't want trash sitting in another position of power and that affects our kids, right? So how do we know? And you just said we can hold you accountable. So I'm cool with that. We're going to have these conversations. You're going to pop up once a week if you want to and say the action steps. But what is your true vision for Chester Upland School District? How do you see yourself implementing change throughout the school district? And do you plan on firing teachers?
So, one, I want to create the conditions that all of our students have a personalized learning experiences. So in which students are at the center of their own learning, and that we design the district in a manner in which we design the district in a manner that all kids have what they need, as well as the teachers and the staff that we equip them with the skills so that they can be successful to support the children that are entrusted in their care. We're going to keep students at the center. I want to say this again, students at the center of their learning. We have, with the number of students that we have in Chester, every student should have an individualized plan that supports them academically as well as their social emotional learning needs. I've worked in districts that have been 10 times the size of this district. And so maybe that might have been a little bit more complex for people, but here we should be able to do that. And so it's going to take all of us again, not just me, one person, to keep all of our children at the center. So everyone who's listening to me, we all have about 2,900 students. I'm just talking about the traditional school students right now. I know we have a total, we have about 7,000 students in Chester, but I'm talking about the students that are entrusted in my care, the Chester Upland School District students. We want to create conditions that we do that for them. And as I mentioned before, my first priority is safety. So I'm going to make decisions to make sure we keep people safe based on the guidelines. And also part of my vision, I want to go back to a minute for a second, is that we also create conditions that we prepare students for college, for post-secondary experiences. Doesn't have to just be college, but post-secondary experiences if they want to enter different fields, as well as we want to prepare them for life beyond high school. So that is my vision, and I want to reiterate my priority about safety.
Absolutely. I mean, safety is key for our kids. They face, before COVID, they faced safety concerns.
Right.
You know, traveling, our children are caught in the crossfire and sometimes the target of attacks. And so this community is hurt in so many different levels. And you know how the saying is hurt people, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to put up a fight when we don't understand something and we don't think something is right. And this is what we get when we were handed you know, a lot of people just know from what they're reading in the articles, right? So the first thing you said is you're holding listening sessions. So you're going to be going around the community and holding yourself in these positions for people to come out and ask the questions. So she's doing that. She said you can hold her accountable to the things that she wants. She gave you her vision plan and her plan for the school district. She's going to break all of these things out. And it's our job as community members that want good for our kids to hold her accountable to that. And if she doesn't earn that respect, then we ask you politely to move to the side and we find somebody else. But we have to, because Ricky said it earlier, where were we in the beginning, right? We got to hold the board accountable. We got to hold the people that are hiring accountable and say, all right, we didn't get a vote. I think that's what it is. The community really didn't get a vote and you're hiring. So it's like, why you? But you're about to show us.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and you know what? I can't speak to the process because the board was involved in the process and they're part of the community. So the community was represented in this process. However, please know that I have developed a plan, an entry plan. I want to make sure I said this because people are saying, well, are you going to have listening tours? I'm going to finalize this and make it public so everyone will know what I'm doing for the next 90 days. Because I want you to know. They're like, what is she doing? You're going to have it right laid out here, the things that I'm doing for the first 90 days of my job. I'm going to come back and report back to them. I'm going to have community forums and show you what I've learned. I'm going to be very transparent about what I've learned and what I'm going to do, not just me, but our collective team is going to do to support your children. But I need you to give me an opportunity. I need you to work and partner with me to do this work. Absolutely. I need your support. It's not about me. It's about us as a community. Everyone who's all passionate and fired up. Yeah, what's that? What's she gonna do? I need you to be on my team.
Right.
If you got a skill, something that you say, hey, like I said, now, you know, we have our fiscal challenges. So I don't have some money to say, okay, I can write some checks and all that. But we want to be serious about this work of our children. I can find something for you to do. But you got to let me get school reopened, make sure we're following these guidelines, and make sure we create the structures in place. But I want you to be a part of this.
So the question that they're asking right now is, why was a seniority list requested? And the seniority list is, I guess, it based on the teacher's seniority and who has the most seniority as teachers, because through the grapevine is that you're about to get rid of over 50 teachers. Is that true?
We have not made any decisions about reducing any teachers in the district, in this district. We, as you are aware, we are looking at assessing our talent pool because we have, mentioned the guidelines here. So if anything, I'm hoping I have enough teachers because we have not selected a schooling experience for our students for next year. So there's no rumor there should be no rumor. And I've talked with the teachers union. So I'm sure if they thought that, they would have called me, and I was just on a meeting with them because they're part of our pandemic school reopening. There's no plan to, so that is not true.
All right. And like I said, again, you're standing here, you're sitting here now with me, and we're able to have this back and forth conversation. This isn't going to be the last time we do this. We're going to have more conversations, and we're going to go to more sounding boards, and we're going to talk to the community. But community, I need you to come out, right? Not just to be on the live and back in and barking, but coming out and helping and finding solutions and giving suggestions, because you just said that. So shout out to everybody that's on the live right now. Shout out to everybody that's commenting all the questions. And they want your contact information. So
when I get, you can email me and I will respond at askthesuperintendent@chesteruplandsd.org. So askthesuperintendent@chesteruplandsd.org. So if you email me there, I will respond. Like I said, as you know, our buildings are closed. I'm here today, but there's an IT person and myself here today, right now, and my staff is working remotely. So calling on the phone is not the best option for us right now, but if you email, I promise you, I will get back to you. So it's askthesuperintendent@sd.org? At Chester, Upland, the school district, Upland, sd.org.
All right. I'm trying to do multiple things. I don't have a whole team of jokers. It's just me. Nah, I got some people. We just deal it.
You asked me a question, and I want to say I think it's going to be important for me to end with a few things, if you don't mind, Uncle Pete.
Go ahead.
One, I really believe in this community, and I know that together we can create exceptional learning experiences for all of our children. But I know that I have to go out and sell trust to you. I know I have to go out and build your trust and have you be a part of. And I know that I need, and if I'm just making this appeal to everyone listening, if you could just give me an opportunity to get to know the community, get to know you, and shape our plan moving forward so that all our kids can be successful.
All right. Deneen, Jesus Loves Me Mosley, she has a question. Has the school budget been finalized, and how are Chester City residents going to be affected for school taxes by that new budget?
So we are still looking very closely at our budget, and we are in the process of assessing and mitigating our funds. So there was a board meeting that was, the budget was approved last week by the board. And as part of that particular process, the board voted to increase taxes. Get into all the details on this response. However, we are looking closely at the budget, and we do have so we need to mitigate the budget.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, for Chester, we understand that a lot of things have been taken out of the budget when it comes to school, and we have quite many buildings that go unused. We have a vocational building that was once one of the tops in the state, and the program just stopped. So I asked that question because I want to know if you have a plan to bring back vocational training in the school district.
So what I need to do, Uncle P, as part of this entry plan and listening and learning, I need to assess our facilities, assess our academic programming, and also look very closely at our fiscal picture, not just me though, working with the receiver, working with the board to see what are the educational programs that we can offer with the resources that we have. So I have to make an assessment. This is maybe my 8th or 9th day. I'm losing count now of work. And so I'm faced with a pandemic. So I got to make sure I balance all the protocols and following all the guidelines, as well as getting to know and hear from you. Like you said, the community. You're from Chester. You have a rich history here in this community. There are things that I wouldn't possibly know, or even some of my staff. That's why I want to hear from you. I want to hear your input. And so I can take your ideas back to our board, back to our receiver, and see how we can meet the needs of this community. We can't promise everything, but we have a clear plan. We have a clear plan, a recovery plan that's been approved by the state that we must follow. So we have to be aligned with that recovery plan. There's a district level plan. So we have to follow those guidelines that have been identified by the state and approved by the judge. There's also a order. There's a court order that has been, and we know what judges do. You know, when a judge says something, we have to do it. So I have to follow that plan as well. But all those plans that I mentioned, they are aligned with making sure that our kids have a high quality education. And let me say this is not going to happen overnight. You got to we have to have some time. We got to put some structures. We have to do some reorganization. So you got to give me some time. But trust you me, I will be available to people. I am going to hold these community forums, and I am Chester, and I need you. I need you to partner me with this work.
Now we not too cool with just claiming anybody, Dr. Birks, and I'm gonna tell you, right? You saying you Chester, that holds you to a very, very you're claiming us, so that means you're a part of us. So
Yes.
like if you fail us, we're coming for you. I don't think we're gonna write you any checks to leave.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that I'm pushing you and others to start with a growth mindset.
Okay.
Start with a growth mindset as well as a positive mindset. So we've had all this deficit conversation. First, we're gonna hold you accountable. We need to hold each other accountable. Yes, you paid me to be your superintendent, but these are all of our children. And we know that it's going to take all supports, everyone's input, everyone's intellect to help do what's best for all of our children. Yes, you paid me to lead, but it's not about one person. And we need people, all these people fired up. We need you fired up about making this district a great district, because I believe that it can happen. And you have my commitment to do that.
All right. Well, that's what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna work with you, and you can hold us accountable. If you got parents that aren't showing up, that are barking the loudest, and you don't see them at the meetings, and they're not willing to do the work, then we will have a problem. And accountability works on both ends. If I ask for it and you don't get it, then you can jump on me as well. But I want to thank you.
You said real quick, I want to say too.
Go ahead.
Parents showing up. Parents may not be able to show up for a meeting, but you know what we can do? You can make sure that your kids show up for school. Ready to learn. You send your kids ready to learn, and we will do our jobs here. That's important, because people don't have time. They have to work. They're busy. Lots of things are happening. But I need everyone to do their part in making sure that our kids are successful. And I thank you so much for this opportunity to be on your show. I really do.
I thank you. Right? Because this is what it's about, right? Accountability, transparency, upward mobility,
collaboration,
right?
And partnership.
Right.
Yes.
Partnership.
There it is. Collaboration. Yes.
There it is. But you'll see a whole lot more of me. I'll be at the school board meetings. We'll be recording those live. We'll bring our people out, right? So they ask the right questions, so we get the right answers. Like I said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Sometimes you're just asking at the wrong time. Right. The CMPradio.net is Uncle P. I love y'all. I want y'all to stay on top of everything. If there's anything that you need from Uncle P, man, at any time you need me out there, you want me to come to your event, man, make sure you hit me up in the email, right here, Uncle P at CMPradio.net. It's right there. Check it out. Hit me up if you need me to come out. You want me to broadcast something. If it's something that you just want to talk about, you want to come up to the radio station. If you want to have your own podcast, you can do that. I want to thank again Dr. Carol Birks, the new Chester Upland School District Superintendent, right? For sitting down with us, having a conversation with us, and explaining to us about the parent guardian school opening survey, right? Please. It's due July 13th.
Yes.
Make sure you go online, fill it out, Facebook, fill it out. Or again, if you can't get in touch with them, hit them up. I know you said the phone's line. Nobody's there to answer the phone. So
need you to even have your cousin, your friend, or someone send us a note to that. Ask the superintendent at chester.uplandsd.org, or send us a note on Facebook, and someone will contact you.
All right. So there's the email right there. There's the email. Write that down, pin that, and send it in if you can't do it via phone, social media, or computer. This is important. This is that gauge of communication back and forth. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I know we got tons of questions, and
I'm going to have community forums, so they'll get an opportunity. They'll have questions then with the community forum.
Okay? So, yep, absolutely. So thank you, Dr. Birks. I appreciate it very much. And everybody take the survey. Everybody get the survey handed in. Let's get this done. Let's make sure our kids go back to school safe, right?
Yes. COVID
free. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful day. Right? Have a wonderful day. All right, everybody. We're out of here, man. CMPradio.net.
Take care.
Cultivating mature positivity.
CMPradio.net.
Man, listen, Uncle P, now is the time where we come together to hold the higher ups accountable. No more crying and fussing and complaining. It's time to get up and be active. It's time to get up and be active. Go to the meetings. Hold your superintendents, your mayors, your councilwomen, your school board members. Hold these people accountable for the things that we want. No more complaining. The time for complaining is done. It makes no sense. The milk has been spilt. We can't keep all fussing about it. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. As always, man, it's your boy Uncle P, reminding you, your opinion doesn't matter. Peace. Love you.